Howdy y'all! I went live yesterday and again today, and one of the biggest things being requested is a story time of how I got to here, from the start of addiction through to getting clean. Now, I've told some of this before, but some people are new, some people haven't seen it, and God knows how long it would take to dig those videos up, so here we go. My ex-husband introduced me to the substance that begins with an F in 2014. At the time, it was still marketed as a substance that begins with an H. And his course of action, when I wouldn't just do it, was to threaten to harm my cats. I'm not putting the blame on him. I'm simply saying this is how it was introduced. I chose to do it, and I chose not to stop. Twice in the first year, I got clean, and the longest I lasted was 7 days. Being with another addict makes that kind of hard. You know, we kind of feed off each other. If I choose to do it, he tags along, and vice versa. I do want to add that introducing me to the substance was just part of a cycle of abuse and mistreatment that continued to get worse once a substance was involved. So by 2018, I chose being homeless over staying with this man. I ended up in a room where my coworkers at the time said they were going to help me, and it was a lie. Within 3 weeks, I was on the street with nowhere to go. And of course, he had followed me there. I started working at a car wash to fuel my use. There was basically no more money than that, where again I fell into a cycle of somebody taking advantage, using the addiction to get what they wanted and needed. In this case, nearly free labor. While at the car shop, I actually went through a window, and while this was all I walked away with, it could have been a lot worse. I also should have mentioned that in 2014, just a few months after starting, I had gotten a car wreck. Not while using, but actually not, would cause me to, with no real explanation, and I did that at the wheel and wrecked a 2014 car in 2014. So that's twice that I came in close to deletus, and because of a substance. 2019, I ended up overdosing twice. Both times I woke up with puke in my mouth, choking on it, and neither time do I understand why I woke up. So this is now 4 times that a substance has put me in trouble. At the beginning of 2019, I tried Suboxone and went into precipitated withdrawal and never touched that stuff again. Never will. 2020 came, and I actually spent the summer coming off of the F side cold turkey. It was hell. 10 days of pure hell. Weeks of suffering after. It was the worst thing I've ever done. And then I went back. In 2021, I began really going live, like full time, and you guys were really getting to see how bad it was. Not that you didn't see it in the hotel, but being in an apartment by myself made it a lot worse. And I did end up going out on camera there. I did not have to be Narcaned, contrary to popular belief, but I did end up falling out face first in cat food and woke up as the police officer was calling in for help. That's 5 times. In early 2022, I decided to really start tapering down again with the goal of getting off. Still convincing myself I was in control and I could do this thing alone. In the middle of all of this, from 2020 to 2022, I was making bad comments about NA, about clinics and Matt, mostly trying to convince myself my way was right, honestly, if we're going to be honest. I actually did really good. I have since found out I was doing between 3 and 5 Gs a day, grams a day, and by the time I finished the taper before I went back up, I was down to half a G a day. And then I got pregnant. You see, I didn't believe I was going to get pregnant. It had been so many years and it hadn't happened. It wasn't gonna, right? But it did. And I fully intended to stop completely because of this baby. Although I would have to do it very safely and very carefully because sudden stopping can cause infant loss. And for a little while I did really good until I didn't. And when I called for help, it was either crazy requirements that in my addicted state I swore I couldn't meet, or they refused to take me. And so I latched onto that as a reason to keep using. I'm not saying I was sane, I'm saying I was sick. That summer, what was most likely Xyla came out, and that was really bad. That particular time, several people deleted, and I probably could have. And that was probably the closest I came to trouble in my pregnancy. But by the time I went to get help in October, I was back up to $50 a day, and I was out of control. I think part of me wanted help. I stopped trying to hide it. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I stopped. And then October 26th, 2023, I made the decision to go to a different methadone clinic and get help. I absolutely should have done it sooner. That is one of my biggest regrets that I will always live with. October 30th, I get surprised with going to the hospital to be induced, and I detox while in labor, and definitely did not get what I should have after 9.5 years of use. Hot and cold sweats, some anxiety, and some muscle cramps. Mostly because the hospital helped as much as was physically possible, and partly because, my belief, I prayed really, really hard. While in the hospital got me balanced on my methadone, got my dose raised up and whatnot. When I went in on 45 milligrams, and I came out on 80. And I stayed on 80 until I announced I was tapering 2 months ago-ish, and I'm now down to 76 milligrams. I have been sober for 6 months. I am not going to mention what I went through during the years of publicly using. If you were here, you know. If you weren't, no sense bringing it up. But just know what I went through has inspired me to believe that nobody should be approached to be offered help unless they ask for it, especially online. You mean well, but an addict isn't seen, and they see those offers as harm. Anyway, I am 6 months sober with a 6-month-old son, and feeling the best I've ever felt. I got myself on psych meds for postpartum anxiety and for my ADHD, and I'm feeling loads better. Like me, but better. So that's my story time. If there's anything I didn't address, because I'm trying to keep this from not being forever long, feel free to ask questions, and I will see you all very, very soon. Okay, thanks, bye!